Stepping Up to the Plate on BCTV is presented by Smoker & Company and One Source Business Solutions.
Hello again, everyone. This is Missy Lamb of the Big Vision Foundation, and welcome back to our Stepping Up to the Plate series on BCTV. On this month's edition, we'll have some highlight footage of our John Paul II Day, as well as some awesome baseball, softball, and soccer events that occur at the Big Vision Sports Complex each weekend. As you watch some of our highlight footage, you'll hear several of our friends, board members, and past players talk about what Big Vision Foundation and Berkshire Baseball and Softball Club mean to them. Enjoy.
For several years now, the Big Vision Foundation has been hosting kids from Bethany Children's Home, the Children's Home of Reading, and the John Paul II Center for Special Learning. This year is no different, and it's always a highlight for our staff to get together with the wonderful kids from the John Paul II Center and have them out here for a wonderful day of baseball, lunch, and fun.
I was really excited that we were able to utilize a bunch of different fields and the batting cages. I mean, that was huge for us, especially having the amount of kids that we had, just shy of 150. It gets tight on just one. And we're fortunate enough that sometimes we get to go to these MLB fields, which are huge and nice and great. But, you know, other times when we want to stir buzz in a community like this, there's one small field. And we make do, but this was amazing. We were able to use, you know, one field for base running, outfielding, infielding. We were able to use the cages for hitting. And then we were able to use the other field for pitching, catching, and throwing. So that was really big for us. And yeah, these facilities are amazing. It's so impressive what you've been able to do and how you've been able to, you know, just continue to grow and make them the best that they can be. I have not, besides MLB stadiums, which are clearly going to be, you know, amazing. That's no surprise. This is hands down the nicest facility I've been to, and I'm sure that, you know, you have great grounds crew that keeps everything clean. I saw him working when I was walking up here this morning to make sure that everything was perfect for us. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it'll only go up, and there's not that there's a whole much more to be done here. It's beautiful.
Growing up, I remember talking about this last time I was here. I didn't have an organization like this near where I grew up that offered all these types of different organized sports and community-based events and stuff like that. So when I heard about you guys, I like I said, I knew from a close friend your organization before it became Big Vision Foundation, and I thought it was cool what you did. And now that you guys have a complex, it makes it even easier to host these events. And for the most part, I love working with kids. I love teaching them the game that I love, as well as just any of the fundamental sports about having fun and just getting out there and keeping yourself busy, because sports is a great way of kind of building character both on and off the field. And I think it's a good benefit to have for this community, and it needs to get bigger, because I think the effect will really put an impact on how kids grow, kind of develop along the way, and I think it really does help.
Comes with my job, and I really just want to be someone who kids can aspire to be, and just have a role model that, you know, inspires them to want to get better every day, live a healthy lifestyle, and want to be happy and have fun in something that they love to do, because that's how I feel. I'm so passionate about football, and I hope that I can relay that message onto them and just get them as passionate as I am. And I think it's important to give back to these kids, because they do need a good role model to have in sports, and then just in life in general. And I think that as female athletes, we can provide that. We have so many different personalities on the U.S. national team, and we have so many young kids who can relate to different personalities that we have, and now we have to give back, and it's a part of our duty, and we want to do that. And that's why I'm here tonight, because I want to help these young kids, you know, aspire to just be great and to get better and live healthy lifestyles and be happy and you know, share this championship with them.
Well, one of the most important things is the setting. It's an absolute beautiful setting, especially the nights here in late August and now early September with the sunset on Field 4. And, Field 1 has the lights, and that could turn into a really big-time venue for a possibility of a men's team or a women's team, which we're looking into. Eric Franks and I are diving into it pretty heavily, looking into bringing in a men's team and a women's team, and we'll see whether that comes to fruition or not. But it's an absolute perfect setting. I mean, the night the Ali Krieger clinic, and for those of you listening that may not know, Ali Krieger, member of the women's national team that just won the World Cup, she's been with us twice now. But in July at your place, it was just unbelievable. I wasn't there to see it firsthand, but wasn't heavily involved in leading up to it and all the planning, and then actual game night, which was the big event with her. Your staff was tremendous, and Eric Franks and Chris Laverdor, my top guys in FC Revolution, they just made it happen. But I think the synergy's there, Dan, and I think we can continue to bring big events, soccer events, futsal events, all kinds of things to the complex, because the complex is perfect for that type of thing. The fields, which we think are just spectacular. They've been great. We had a lot of rain over the summer, so that certainly helped with the quality of the fields, but they're always cut. Everything is, it just makes it easier as a coach to train kids and to train players, and they have a better attitude when they walk out and see the green fields and no dirt anywhere. And, it's just an intrinsic thing about the kids. They want to do better because of the facility and where they're training.
The biggest thing that sticks out in my mind looking back is the bigger purpose of the game was always a factor. There wasn't just discussing the winning and losing. It was a real big focus on how you act as a person out on the field, to each other, to your teammates, as well as the opponents. As a player, under your guidance there, it was always more than that. It was about learning life skills through the game, which is something that I still pass on to my children and to my players as a coach now. When as a tournament director and as a coach in the Berkshire baseball organization, it was just continuing that philosophy, teaching the kids that there's more to the game than just putting themselves out there on the field. Their public service that they're doing, getting out there and helping, volunteering their time, not only to the organization but to the team themselves, coming out to practice, devoting their time, their parents' time, appreciating those things, and just a lot of respect for themselves and for the game. So it's just a pay it forward type of philosophy.
It's actually pretty cool because, when I was sitting out there, I got to watch 3 different baseball games, 3 different age groups, and it was pretty cool. So I got to just sit there and just be in baseball heaven and just watch different games.
Yeah.
And it's it kind of distracts me, especially when people come up to talk to me. But it's you can't blame a 14-year-old who's into sports to
Right.
be able to focus on that person. But I try my best. I try to just watch them, look them dead eye to eye. But I like it because I get to watch different games. It's just pretty cool.
Well, I love being around sports. I went to IUP for a sport administration degree, and having this opportunity to work within the organization at Big Vision, that was just the step in the right direction to hopefully grow within the organization. And just the atmosphere at the complex every weekend when I'm there, all the families and the players, they're just amazing. They come smiling. They're so happy to be here at the complex, and being able to relay my energy to them is just, it's so cool. I can smile and laugh with them as they're ordering their food or drinks, and then they come back later in the day and they remember me from earlier. And it's cool because I remember people from the beginning of the year, they come back like halfway through the season for another tournament, and they remember me. And it's just the whole environment, the atmosphere, and even the staff and the maintenance guys at the complex. There's some really cool people within the organization.
I think, one of the biggest things, not necessarily just in the field of recreation, but in any, professional setting, teamwork is a big part of being successful. And I think, learning the values of being a good teammate and a good coach and opponent, competitor, through playing with Berkshire baseball for what felt like a decade, I think, at least, really gets you prepared for the real world. And being at different institutions, different types, different sizes of institutions, you're going to be exposed to different cultures and settings, yet you still have to be a good teammate, you have to be a good coworker, and provide good customer service. And I think Berkshire baseball laid a good foundation for me early on in my adolescence to prepare myself for what I'm doing today.
Some of my best friends I've met through the Berkshire organization. And so if it wasn't for you establishing this organization, we may have never met. Especially, we mentioned Kyle and Zach. And what the organization has done, from where it's been from where it started in 1989 to where it is now. I mean, it's great, and I hope it continues.
It feels great to play in any baseball field, but compared to any British field in the UK, it's so much better. I mean, it looks amazing. I mean, I can just live on that field forever and ever if I could. It's just amazing. I mean, it's part of my dream to even play somewhere in the major leagues, and just playing part of something that's similar to it is pretty cool. I was a bit reluctant at first because I didn't realise, I'm playing with travel ball kids, I've never experienced this before, and I was like, am I allowed? It was really all new to me, and then everyone accepted me and they all said, just come and play, so I accepted. It was really, really fun. I had a great time.
Good.
They're looking forward to it. A replica of Fenway Park. Nice area here. Got the airplane show flying by. Yeah, gets the kids out of the city a little bit, out of their environment. I got a lot of kids that think Boathouse Row is outside the city. Right. So this is just a great opportunity, and we just love, like I said, we love the hospitality of the organization here. In fact, one of my players the other day was asking me, when are we going to go to a tournament back up at. He couldn't remember the name, but he kind of remembered the area and really enjoyed himself up here. And he's coming all the way from Delaware. And I hope through the game of baseball I could show them respect, sportsmanship, teamwork, dedication, loyalty. It's okay to fail, that we're going to have bumps, we're going to have valleys and peaks in our lives, and that if we can all come together and we focus on something, there's something that you can accomplish. So it's not about just the winning or the championships, it's about how you play the game. It's about committing to something and being loyal and trying to commit to excellence. And really what makes my heart sing is when players come back to me 10, 15 years later that say they appreciated, they're responsible members of their community, and they saw that baseball was a very important part of their growing up and teaching them those life skills. I have several players now that are coaches and giving back to their communities, so that's just fantastic. And
Well, I think that the biggest thing for me was being around other guys that were, equally or sometimes much more talented than I was. When you come from your own little school, I came from a little school, you're usually the one-man show or whatever. But when you come to an organization like Berkshire Baseball, you are surrounded by guys who are as good or better than you and probably work harder than you, and so that pushes you to become everything that you can be. It doesn't allow you to slack off or coast at all. And the amount of talent that was in the organization when I was playing in 2003, in the fall of 2003, our team was loaded with guys from around the county and surrounding counties that went on to play D1 or dominate D2, and a couple of them played professionally for a little bit. So just being able to find a role, it teaches you that you're not always the star, and even if you are very good on a really good team, you have to, try to fit in and fill a role that needs to be filled. And a lot of times it's not the all-star, not everybody can bat third or fourth. So somebody has to bunt, somebody has to, break up a double play, and those kind of things are lessons that are, transferred from not just baseball but into life. Somebody has to take out the trash, somebody has to do the stuff behind the scenes, and those are lessons that can be used throughout life.
Well, at the time, Berkshire Baseball was a bright light hidden under a bushel basket. It made an enormous impact on the county from both an economic development standpoint, from a youth development standpoint, from a community involvement standpoint. But very people knew what it was. When you ran into people on the streets and mentioned Berkshire Baseball, they looked at you somewhat confused and said, "I think I've heard about that. Who are they?" The result was that the organization was not getting, quite frankly, the respect that it deserved for the work that it did. And through our planning process, we were able to assess the state of the organization, determine where it needed to go going forward, and then determine the steps it had to take for getting there. As a result, the rebrand, as you put it, took place. You morphed from being Berkshire Baseball to Big Vision Foundation with a Berkshire Baseball component of
Correct.
the Big Vision Foundation. You took a giant gamble, which I believe is paying off, to sink a lot of money into those fields and create a destination for young people and youth teams to come to Berks County to play ball. You hired a team of super people who work with you now in order to continue to bring your organization forward. You launched a very active and, I believe to this point, succeeding sales and marketing campaign to bring more people from a broader geographic range to these wonderful fields that you have created. You had always made an impact, by the way, on the community. Now that impact is even greater.
Came out, I was like getting bad memories of Fenway and the ball going over the wall there at times. But I was like, that's pretty awesome that the kids here get a chance to go out there and play on a field like this. You guys are doing a great job down here at the complex. This is outstanding. It's always fun to see kids playing baseball because you never know. One of those kids out there, I'm hearing the crack of the bat, I'm like, that sounds good. Right. And you wonder who that is, and you see the number, you see the kid running. You never know. You might see that kid later on somewhere. Yeah. So you just always like to enjoy when you're out here, especially on a beautiful day like today. Absolutely.
I think it's important when anytime we have the opportunity to put the uniform on, play in the big leagues. And, I remember putting it on when I was 5, 6 years old and coming out to the field and loving it. And still, when I had that opportunity to play in the big leagues, I still felt the same way. So I think the passion that this game brings to you and the stuff that I have been, very grateful that baseball has given to me, the least I can do is to give something back. And to see these kids in what a great complex here. It's beautiful. To have a field to come to and play on like this and know that you're getting better. The main thing is to realize these kids, this is where we started. And it means a lot to be out here playing and to have the coaches that are, and the technology they have now to make you better. So, anytime I can give something back, I'm definitely going to take the opportunity to do it. Flex is absolutely, it's a 10, and it's great things that you're doing. I know if I was a kid, I would love to come here and play, but
Oh, it's no doubt. It's really funny because I played running back in 1970, and years after that, I liked to go out and hunt when I lived in actually New Jersey, and the sheriff here in Reading was Sheriff Kramer, and he invited me to go hunting, and I met him, and basically we drove out right here. And hunted right off of, what is this, made a left-hand turn off 83 and came down this road, and I actually hunted right next to the county prison.
Right,
and,
right up the road from there.
To think about the farm ground that was here now, this massive complex for the youth programs. It's really a nice facility, and I think you can see it on the kids' faces that participate, and the participation comes from a long way away.
Right.
We got people or a team here from Long Island, New York. Yeah. So it's a great complex, and not only do you have the boys playing on one side of the complex, but the ladies or the women are playing on the other side, and so you get to see a little fast pitch softball as well as hard big league type baseball.
Yeah.
Well, you ran some great tournaments, and what I liked about the tournaments was the emphasis was on letting the kids play ball. Where I came from, not to say that it was all that bad, but the emphasis was on winning. And here the emphasis was on playing the game the right way. Right. And I think my kids, they could never wait to come up here and play in these tournaments. And I think where you're at right now, just look around. If you got Major League Baseball players dying to get out on the field, throwing a ball off your monster out there, mad because the game's going to get rained out because they're going to play softball. And I think that kind of shows what direction you're headed. You're heading forward in a great direction. At the camp today, just to hear the kids, there's certain areas you won't get that same response from the kids. Right. We're talking to the kids for 15 minutes at a shot, and it's all day long. I would have liked to have been a little more proactive with the kids, maybe getting them throwing a little bit or things like that, but we couldn't have done that with normal groups. This was a group of kids that sat there attentively and listened and learned and offered good advice, and I think they listened. And that's because they have fun playing, and that's the main thing that I think you've done here. You've created an atmosphere of not only teaching but learning, but when I say teaching, your coaches teach, your players learn. After talking to you, I just went, yeah, but when I walked in, I went, Dad, yum, this is unbelievable, this is awesome. I think that was a reaction of quite a few guys. We were talking about it all day long. You're talking about Ashby. Ashby flew in on a red eye from San Diego, drove 2 hours or more to get here, and was all excited. He was like a young kid running around on the field. I think that's kind of what you get. The first take you get when you walk in here is you look around, and you do look at the monster. And then you look around, and this field draws you. But then you look over there and see that field, and you go, whoa. Then you start saying, hey. Yeah. And, the kids got a place to play baseball. We need to get kids out playing baseball and different sports. And you've done that here. I heard you got a little golf game going here, too, with a little fungo golf.
Fungo golf, yeah.
I might have to come and try that. That's definitely pretty creative there.
Definitely.
I hope everyone enjoyed the show. I'd just like to take a quick minute to remind everyone of our annual Berkshire baseball and softball banquet that is coming right around the corner on November 19th. This year's banquet will be held at the Banquet Hall in EDI and will be featuring our Berkshire alumni, Isaac Wenrick, who is currently playing professionally for the Sonoma Stompers and will be our special guest for the night. I'd also like to remind everyone of our Giving Tuesday fundraiser at Salute Ristorante Italiano in Sinking Spring and will be held on November 28th. Please be sure to get tickets for these awesome events at bigvisionfoundation.org. Thank you and have a great night.